Hi, this is Chris Frew with BioBuzz here at the QNova LifeSciences Partnering Forum, part of JP Morgan Healthcare Week. And I'm excited to sit down today with Michael Gaba, who is a vice chair of the FDA practice group at Polsinelli. Michael, welcome.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you today. Just as a starting point, can you tell us a little bit more about your firm?
Sure. So Polsinelli is a full-service firm. We've got close to 1,100 attorneys across the country, including here in San Francisco. We pride ourselves on being U.S. only. Most firms our size also have a presence outside the United States, but we take great pride in being focused on the U.S. market. And so I think we do quite well. We've got a great healthcare department, and the FDA practice is part of that department.
So tell me a little bit. So what are some of your goals coming out here this week?
Well, I came out here at the request of JP Morgan to speak on their FDA regulatory panel that took place yesterday morning at Convene. It was an hour-long program, and so I was really pleased to be able to do that. And beyond speaking to the folks about what's happening in real time at the agency, I've been out here meeting folks and trying to give them some guidance on how to navigate the FDA.
Well, I'm glad we got you because I missed that program that you gave. So would you mind telling us and our viewers a little bit about what you were able to share at the conference?
Absolutely. So I would say that my focus has really been on medical devices, and so we really talked about the current landscape, what's going on at the agency, but also about really more importantly the new policies that have been coming out from the agency in the form of guidances. And really, since the middle of December, there have been three principal guidances that have come out. One in mid-December regarding the use of real-world evidence, and what's important about that is that the agency clarified that patient-level identifiable data is no longer required as part of a submission. That may sound sort of in the weeds, but I can tell you that although real-world evidence has been promoted by the agency since 2016 through 21st Century Cures, the roadblock to really using real-world evidence was the fact that the FDA also required this patient-level identifiable data to evaluate the clinical trial data that was being submitted to support applications. Removing that requirement now opens up the opportunity to utilize significant databases, whether they're from rare disease coalitions or health systems or even Medicare claims data. It could be a game changer. And importantly, Chris, it has also been telegraphed by the agency that they intend to roll out a similar policy for both drugs and biologics. So that was one thing. The other two things we talked about were in the digital health space. So there's been, just a week ago, the agency issued two revised guidances, one on clinical decision support technology and the other on wellness products. And so both of those high level are intended to open up the market, encourage innovation, remove some barriers to market entry, and to really give people what I think they're looking for, which is more information about their own health at their fingertips to make them better healthcare customers.
That's great. So we've heard a lot of positive, I'd say, feelings about the year ahead. How do you think some of these regulations and changes are kind of weighing in on kind of investor sentiment and kind of the market itself?
It's a great question, Chris. I think that investors are, guardedly optimistic because I think the consistent message from the agency, as haphazard at times it may seem to come across the airwaves, is to encourage investment by reducing regulatory barriers to market. And so it's intended to try to facilitate pathways and make it easier for companies to get to market while allowing the FDA to maintain their standards of ensuring that the products are safe and effective for their intended use.
Yeah, so that sounds positive. I mean, investors like confidence, a little more stability. So it
Right.
seems like the common threads are given confidence.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there are a couple of programs out there that the administration has announced, and the FDA in particular, that I think people have questions about because there hasn't been a lot of detail provided about them. So they create some uncertainty, but I think with that uncertainty is opportunity.
So on the other side with the startup at the stage, and what's the advice besides reach out to you, of course? What's the advice that you're giving to companies as they're growing right now, given kind of some of the changes in the landscape on how they can kind of stay ahead of it, or what how they should be prepared?
Well, another good question. I think, what I've been telling them is they've got to be one, open-minded, which also includes being nimble, because the FDA and I think this administration writ large tends to put a lot of information out there, at once, and it does take some time to sift through it, but recognize that each of those announcements about new programs or demonstration projects does create opportunity, and they should remain optimistic. The other thing I'll say though is that I think the lion's share of the work at the FDA is still being done as it's always been done. I can tell you that the reviewers are a very serious group who are mission driven, and so they're doing their job as they've always done it, but admittedly, they're under greater stress because there are fewer employees. CEDAR, the Center for Drugs, lost close to 1,100 people since April of last year. The Center for Devices has been less affected, but it does have a ripple effect across the agency.
Yeah. Yeah. So some positive things, and then some we're still kind of adjusting to some of the changes of 2025. It sounds like.
Right, I think so. I mean, I think with the reduction in force, it's almost inevitable that uh, deadlines will be missed in terms of review times for applications. I haven't seen that yet, but I think it's inevitable. But hopefully it won't happen. And I know that the reviewers are working very hard, almost around the clock, to make those deadlines.
Now, I'm not allowed to let you get up until I ask you that question. How is AI playing into uh, the year ahead with the FDA and FDA regulations?
Well, so it's interesting. I mean, I think AI across the life science space has two fundamental roles. Sort of in the drug and biologics development space, AI is being leveraged to help inform how to make the product, right, in its simplest form, at the front end. In the device world, though, I would say AI utility is really found in the output of the product. So, with clinical decision support technologies, for
Mhm.
instance, I think AI is going to play a growing role. I think it's going to be challenging to figure out how the agent's going to can regulate that if it's particularly generative AI that's always evolving. I think the question is going to become, at what point does a medical device that relies on AI require a new clearance?
Mm.
The quick tutorial here is that if you can get a clearance for a digital health product that uses AI, uh, the general rule is that you need a new clearance if there's a material change to either the indications for use or the labeling. And I think as these AI tools become more sophisticated, the question is, does that device evolve into something else that requires a new clearance?
Yeah.
And so that's something I think people are going to need to keep an eye on.
Um, I'd love to hear from. We're here for the QNova Life Sciences Forum. What's your experience with QNova, and any experience in the forum?
Yeah, excellent experience with QNova. I've known Jim Sergi, who runs the organization, for about 8 years now. We've collaborated on many projects, and I think QNova is top flight.
That's great. Well, Michael, I appreciate you sitting down with me today and
Thank you so
sharing your
much.
feedback. You saved me. It sounds like a whole hour of sitting and fighting traffic across town. And um, so, wishing you the best of luck this year.
Thank you.
I hope that actually, I hope that is a smoother year, which might
Yes.
be a little less work, but I hope it's a smoother year ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so
Likewise.
much. Appreciate it.